Hello VIPKID teachers, this video is for you. I have been doing a whole bunch of gogokid teacher videos and haven't done a VIPKID one in quite some time. So I thought I would do one today and give an update on the app. I believe my most recent, I didn't go back and check, but I believe my most recent video on VIPKID was sort of slamming the use of the app. Actually, it may have been my technology issue one, which dealt with the app too. So in the technology one, what was happening is if the child was using a portable device like an iPad, then you needed to be on the app in order to not get a teacher IT, although it was inconsistent. There are times that I was just on the regular platform through my internet browser and the child would be on technology, and you could tell the difference in the screen because it kind of has the app screen where the child's picture's at the top rather than on the side. And it used to always work fine. It didn't work great one day. I just thought it was a problem with the child's technology, and VIPKID came back and said it was a teacher IT. I fought it. I didn't win. That is unfortunate. That is an X against VIPKID. I was very upset about that because when they wrote back, they said you should have switched over to the app. But nobody ever told me to switch over to the app. I could always use the child, that platform through the Chrome browser in the past. So I meant to put an update. I'm not sure if I wrote in the notes. I should go back and check and see if I gave that update. Last was I was still waiting to hear back from them. They wrote back. I wrote back to them again. They wrote back to me again. In the end, you really don't have a whole lot of pull with VIPKID. That's the downside. gogokid seems to be a lot more understanding of specific situations in that. And I know for a fact gogokid would have said, you're right, we looked at the tape, we never told you to switch to the other platform. Therefore, we'll just mark it as a system error or whatever. You know, they don't have to mark it as a child IT, but certainly I would have been happy to switch to the app, even though I don't like using the app. But if that's what needed to make the platform work, I would have done it. So that led me to start using the app a little bit more. And it was inconsistent. I'd use it for a while. There would be a glitch. I'd get frustrated. I'd go back to the browser platform. And then what would happen is every time I was in the browser platform and the portal would show up, like the kid is using the portable technology device, I'd have to quickly switch over to the other one. And it was just creating a lot of anxiety for me in the morning. So I decided after about one or two more updates they did where they kept saying they're fixing bugs and they're fixing glitches and all that, to give it a try again. And I have to admit it's been much better, significantly better. In the past, I would say I've been using it for about 2 months and I haven't experienced any glitches with the app. And then just this week, they did another update. And in the list of things they were fixing were additional bugs and glitches that were in the system. I hadn't experienced any, but I'm glad if there were some that they're still getting fixed along the way. So that gives me confidence knowing they're still continuing to fix and update it, that the app version that you would use on your PC is now doing better. So for those of you who don't know, there is the browser version, which means you go into your computer and you go to the teacher website, log in, load in your classrooms, and you teach from there. Then there is an app that you can put onto your screen. You can download from VIPKID, and it opens up as an app on your computer. So it's just a smaller screen. Well, you can make it look bigger, but it's just like a separate portal, and it functions a little bit differently for them, and they are really trying to get everybody over to the app because the app works better for everyone who has portable technology. So all the kids that are using iPads, which in my experience is just slightly over half. I don't have a ton of kids. It's not like it's 80% of my kids are using portable devices. I would say a lot of them go to the home computer that they have and use it there. But in general, I would say just slightly more more than 50, closer to 60% of my kids might use the app, and about 40% of them are still using a PC when they're taking their classes. You know, because the portals look different depending on which technology they're using. If the child is using the portable technology, an iPad of some sort, I suppose they maybe even are using phones, I don't know. But if they're using portable technology, the portal looks different. Your picture and the kid's picture is up at the top, which is great because when you're looking at the kid up at the top, your camera is at the top there as well. And so it looks more like you're looking at the kid as opposed to when the picture's over to the side and you're trying to look at the kid when you're talking to him, but your camera's over here. It's nice when they're on the app version because your eyes are up and lifted and looking in the proper place, and it looks more like a good interaction between you and the child. So what's happening now is I have started just using the app version. And for a while there, I had to switch back over and switch to the browser version anytime the child was on a regular computer. But I have noticed in the past month, I have not needed to do that. It automatically opens up if the child is not in the class yet, it will open up automatically as if they are going to be on portable technology. So in the app version, you'll see that your picture and their picture is up at the top, and you'll be waiting for the class to begin. Okay. If the child is on a regular computer, they are going to reboot the class for you. So what I personally do is sometimes if I'm there fairly early and the child's not there, I might flip over and check another tab and check my email or something along that line and then be listening for when the classroom opens. This is something that I've learned you can't do all the time. You really need to be flipping back because right away, before the child even truly logs in, like they're trying to log in, the firemen will realize that they're on a regular computer and they're going to reboot your class. And when they reboot the class, you have to click on that little button to accept it again. Like, yes, I see that the fireman stuff is up at the top, you know, that little thing you have to click on. So your class and you are not booted into the new classroom until you hit that button. So you do need to be over there to click that to be in the classroom. I just want to check my notes because I was jotting some things down today when I was teaching all my classes. You can see I'm wearing orange because it was a solely VIPKid morning, and I'm trying to be a team player. If VIPKid wants you to wear orange, it's not required, but it's recommended. So on my solely VIPKid mornings, I throw on orange. And now that winter's here, I have some really big, huge orange sweaters and sweatshirts that I can throw over whatever I'm wearing. Sometimes it's even pajamas, and nobody knows. Okay, let me tell you one more thing I don't like about the app, and then I'll tell you something I do like so that we end on a positive note. That's how life should always be, right? End on an up note. Okay, what do I not like about it? On the old platform, I could scroll down and look at the top and see the vocabulary words that are being targeted in the lesson. I could also see the sentence structures that we're trying to target when we're teaching in there, and I can see the overall lesson objective. I use that all the time. I'm always making sure that I'm referring back to that, and I like that I can just look up at the top of the screen and see it up there. That is not the case anymore with the app. The app has 3 separate tabs, and trying to remember what they are, but one of the tabs is info. And so all that stuff that used to be at the top of the screen is now under the info tab. So every time I want to review what those vocabulary words were for this specific lesson or what the sentence structure that I should be using is, because it's not always in the tips, I have to keep clicking over to the tab when I used to just glance up at the top. I didn't even realize how much I used it until I had to manually always go and click on it to get into that. So don't like that at all. I love that the information used to just be at the top of the screen and I could just glance up and take a look at it. The other tab is the information on what to do for the slide. So that's just getting used to a different format. It used to automatically be at the bottom of the slide. Again, if I'm in one of the a different tab, because there's 3 tabs. If I'm in a different tab, I have to click over to see the information of what the instruction is to do on that screen when it used to be at the bottom. I like the fact it's not at the bottom right now, in that the students used to be able to see that information. So they would read the responses. It's like, this is what the student's supposed to say. The kids would be reading that. I'd have to take my pen and scribble it out at times to get them to think on their own and not read the answers at the bottom. So that's good. But over at gogokid, they have a box up at the top that has the information of what to do, and the kids don't see it. So that is technology that, shockingly, at a brand new company that's just a startup and getting going, has figured out that VIPKID, after, I don't know, how long have they been around? 4 years, 5 years? They don't have that yet. So I have to click over the tab. So if I'm over at the tab looking at the information about what is the sentence structure I'm supposed to be targeting, what's the vocabulary that's specific to this unit, then I have to go click back over again and realize, oh shoot, I need to read what to do on this slide again. I forgot if they want me to do it this way or this way. You know, I'm generally familiar with them, but there are times that they want the kids to use that specific sentence pattern. You know, anyway, I'm trying to do the slides exactly as VIPKID wants me to do them, but I feel like they're making it more difficult for me by making me have to switch over to the tabs. The third tab that's there is the chat box. That used to automatically be at the bottom too. I use the chat box all the time in class. When I say a word that they're not familiar with, I'll write it at the bottom. If they don't have the answer and they're trying to think of it and they can't recall it, I might type it for them rather than tell them the answer and get them to try to read it first rather than me tell them the answer. I use it all the time. I use it for reinforcement. If they get something right, I'm like, yes, and then I'll type the sentence, especially if they tend to leave out one of the, what we call functor words, but I guess that's the speech therapist in me and the terminology we used to use. So it would be like more like function words, say, that would be more applicable. The or, and, you know, articles, the, those type of things. I will type it so that they will see it and then have them read it again. So if I'm having them repeat it after me and they're leaving that word out, a lot of times I'll say each word and then emphasize the and then say the sentence. And when I get there, they'll remember to say the, but then I'll type it and have them read it. And they, of course, are always going to add the when they see it in print. All right. So I use the chat box a lot in class, a lot. Especially with the upper level kids, because we have a lot more dialogue that goes on. So a lot more vocabulary words come up that they're like, what's that? Say, you know, what is that? Or they'll circle another word. And so I'm using it all the time. So now I'm constantly flipping between all 3 things and having to hit the tab because all that information, which used to just be right in front of me, is not there. All right, so that's the downside. Other people probably love that it's all right there. And they can just click on the tabs and they have no problem with it. Or maybe they never use the chat box and they never referred to any of the information at the top of the screen. So for them, they just leave it on the teaching tip slide and don't worry about the other 2. For me personally, I used all of that information and I try to use all of those venues when I'm teaching my class. So it's a too bad for me. All right. So what do I like? If I want information on the student, I don't have to open another tab on my computer, open VIPKID again, and go under classrooms to take a look at it. Because, I mean, there's a time, tell me if I'm wrong, when you're teaching a class and things are going terribly wrong and the kid is so lost. And then you think, is it me? I don't tend to look at that information about the kid prior to the class. I like to just try to go in clean and meet them where they are and work with them where they are. But there are times that I just feel like am I missing something? Because I feel like he's doing really great in this, but he's really lost in this. And so I would like to go over to another tab while they're reading or doing something and they have no idea and I'm just still looking in the camera, but I have a tab open on my computer where I'll open up VIPKid, another page, click on classrooms, look at the student information, and see what previous teachers have written at that time. So now that information is in one of those 3 tabs. When you click, I can't remember which one it is, probably the first one that says info. When you click on the info tab, you have the information about the class, and then there's another sub tab inside there where you can click on student, and it gives you the information on the student. So I don't have to open up another tab to do that anymore. I now have all that information right there closer to me to access than I used to before. Have there been a couple times I've still opened another tab and looked because I forgot that the student information was there? Yes, it's a learning process of getting familiar with the new portal, but I'm happy that that information is quicker to our fingertips. Or if I'm waiting for a class to begin, that is a great time to just click on the student tab and take a look at the student if I have nothing else to do. In general, I don't like to do that, as I mentioned before, because I kind of like to go in with a clean slate and not have a preconceived idea of how our kid's going to do. I always want to expect them to do their best, and if they're really struggling, then try to see if I can glance over and read some of the tips that other people have said. Simply because I think at times some teachers are pretty hard on those students, and I personally found myself reading the stuff ahead of time and going, oh, this is going to be a fun class. This kid doesn't know what he's doing. He's in the wrong level. He shouldn't be here. And it really affects my teaching. I feel like I'm a better teacher by not looking at that information first. Personally, that's what I like to do. When you use the app, on occasion, there's going to be a little present box that appears on there. If you click on it, you will get coins put into your bank of coins that you can use to buy different things like a dino or spiritware or whatever that you want to use it for. So that is an incentive that VIPKid created to get you to use the app. I'll be completely honest with you. I kind of almost stumbled upon it. It's very small in the bottom corner, and I think, because I don't look that closely because I'm in the middle of teaching the class, I think it's the exact same icon that they use for you to go back to the home page for the reward slide. You know, there's a little present there that you click on that you can keep going back to the home slide when you use the app version. And it has a reward system on there that is usually interactive for the kid. So I think it's that exact same icon, but it's over to the right and it kind of moves a little bit. I'll be honest, I probably had that thing appear numerous times and I didn't click on it because I'm teaching the class. I'm really engaged in the class, and it's small and it's tiny and it's over in the corner. And I hadn't clicked on it before, so I probably just didn't pay attention to it. Recently, it started appearing a couple times, and then now it hasn't appeared in like the past couple weeks. So I think maybe it keeps appearing if you're not clicking on it. And then the first couple times you click on it, they kind of give you that incentive to get you used to using it. But I don't know. I just find it stupid that this thing pops up randomly. It's supposed to be inconsistent and random and encourage you because you may have that present show up, at which point you then need to click on it. I got these other tabs I need to be clicking on. I don't need to click on that too to get my coins that I have. So I just think it was a poor design. I think that they should just have something that just pops up that say, guess what? You got extra coins for using the app today. End of story. Not, we have a present here, but you're not going to get the coins unless you take the time to click on the present now. I know you're teaching class, but, you know, I mean, does it take that much time? No, but, you know, for me, it's one more thing because I'm clicking on all these tabs now to look at all my information. So, yeah, pros and cons. You get coins in your bank on occasion, like I say, I would say in the past week or two. It hasn't popped up once. for me. So it came up a little more frequently when I first started using the app, and now it's been pretty dry. So you don't get a whole lot of coins, but I appreciate the idea. I just think that they should have gone about it a different way and just had something that popped up that said, thank you, you know, with a little present or something, and then it says, you got coins, and they just automatically do it and don't make you have to click on the box. That's my opinion. All right. The last thing I'm going to say is that what I really like about the app, people can write down below if I'm incorrect on this, but at times you can now click on this little button in the bottom left corner, the number, like where the number is, what slide you're on. If you click on it and you click on the little arrow or hover over it, I can't remember exactly how that works, it will bring up a little screen across the bottom of all the PowerPoints that are coming up, which reminds me now, they do have the technology to have things appear on the screen and the kids not see it. So the tips could appear on the screen and not have to go over to the tab. They just haven't done that. If anyone from VIPKid watches, nobody from VIPKid watches these, forget it. That's a recommendation I would have. I got better things to do than to try to tell VIPKid recommendations of how I want them to change their classes. So I'm not going to submit a ticket. But all right, I digress. This little screen pops up across the bottom of your screen, and it shows a picture of all the PowerPoints that are coming up, which is awesome because you can kind of glance at them. And if you've been a teacher for a while, just by glancing at them, you know what's involved in each slide. If it's one where it's just a free talk and you know how much time to gauge then, you can kind of see the math ones and you know which ones are going to take up more time than others. So you can gauge your timing early on based on that to remind yourself, oh shoot, I forgot. Yes, there's some math ones at the end of this unit. Or in the event that you have a kid that's just really struggling and you're really taking the time to teach them, I know we're supposed to keep flipping through and moving on, but there are times I find myself like, this kid is on the brink of a breakthrough, and you really want to work with them until you hit that breakthrough and they get it and they understand what you're saying and you're all excited, and then at that point you're like, there's no way I'm getting through all the slides. If that little thing pops up, it allows you to like skip the next two slides, which are things that we talked about earlier in the lesson and the kid knew them really well, and move to the next concept, that type of thing. Or maybe go to the next slide to reinforce it, and then skip something that you know that they don't need to do. So I love that. I wish every class had that. That is something fantastic. You can now always just jump ahead, but you can't see what's ahead. You can always go down to the bottom of the screen and type in the number of the slide you want to jump to. But unless you know what those slides are, it's almost meaningless. The only thing that is positive is if I'm really behind on time and I got to get to a new class, I will jump to the goodbye slide at the very end. But other than that, I wouldn't know what the other slides are to jump to. But in the app version, not always, but most of the time. So I'm not quite confident in when it appears and when it doesn't. It might just have to do with newer classrooms that they've come out with that they have this for. I don't know. I honestly don't know. And if you know, write it down below so that I can learn and other people can benefit too. But I've noticed it in the app a lot, and I love that. And for me, that's the feature that got me to use the app the majority of the time. I'm ending on a very positive note because this is my favorite part of the app. I don't see that thing ever pop up when I am in the browser, but it pops up when I'm inside the app version. And that's a home run on the part of VIPKid. That is the one feature that I always wanted in this company, is to be able to have something that you can reference and see exactly what's coming up on different slides. One of the reasons I like that is because for the parents, I don't like to look at a slide and go, oh, okay, we're running out of time. You guys know this. Let's just keep going. They see that you're not completing slides. And I think in general, that's not a good look. But if you're a teacher who you know you're doing your best and you're working really hard and you're teaching the kid and meeting them at their right level, there are times that there are slides you might need to skip. I understand VIPKid wants us to teach all the slides all the time, but every child's unique and an individual. And if you have an education degree and you feel like that you understand your kid very well, there are times it really benefits you to be able to jump to a different slide. This allows you to do it without the parents seeing that you're skipping a slide. So I like that. So for two reasons, sometimes because you have to jump ahead, and just also sometimes just to remind you of what's coming up so that your pacing can go accordingly. That pop-up thing at the bottom of the screen is fantastic. So kudos to VIPKid for that. I have found no problems with any glitches in the past month, and they've done an additional update since then to help keep glitches down and to work on fixing any bugs that are in there. So I can now confidently recommend that you switch over to the app and use it as your primary source of teaching classes, and you don't have to switch back anymore to the browser if the child is not using portable technology. They will switch the classroom within the app and give you the standard browser classroom, and it works fine inside the app now. Thumbs up. All right, that's all. If you have any questions, put them down below. If you're interested in being a VIPKid teacher or a gogokid teacher, my referral information is down below. And if anything I said is incorrect here or you have any additional information to clarify, please write it down in the comments down below. Okay, that's all. You have a wonderful day. Happy teaching, everybody. Bye-bye.